receive this message not as human words, but as truly the words of God.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus and the disciples went to Capernaum. And when the Sabbath day came, he entered the synagogue and taught. The people were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. Just then there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." But Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be silent and come out of him." And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying with a loud voice, came out of him. They were all amazed, and they kept on asking one another, "What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." At once, the fame of Jesus began to spread throughout the surrounding region of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord. We're reading from Mark's Gospel. As far as Mark is concerned, Jesus came to deal with one problem. Just one problem. That's according to Mark's Gospel. The spiritual attacks. The Satan that destroyed Adam and Eve in the book of Genesis. As far as Mark is concerned, that's why God sent Jesus into the world to deal with the number one problem of human beings, which is spiritual. Right after the baptism of Jesus, the first miracle that Jesus performed was not to heal people, it was to confront Satan, to confront the evil spirit that disturbs us. According to our text today, this is Mark chapter 1, starting from verse 21. Jesus observed the Sabbath. Remember to keep the Sabbath day holy. So on the Sabbath day, Jesus went to the synagogue. And as he was preaching, our text says, there was a man with an unclean spirit. So the spirit, the evil spirit, came to the synagogue and possessed this man. Now, just picture a packed church, packed synagogue, because everybody was under obligation to go to church on the Sabbath day. Just picture hundreds of people gathered in one place. And just one guy, one man, decided, after being possessed by this evil spirit, decided to confront Jesus. Now listen to what that evil spirit said. He says, "What have you come to do with us?" He calls him Jesus of Nazareth. What have you come to do with us? Have you come to destroy us? Meaning, it's not talking about the church or the people gathered in there. It's talking about the evil spirit, Satan. The Bible calls them legion. He says, "Have you come to destroy us?" And as far as Mark is concerned, that's why Jesus came. Because if you read Genesis chapter 3, that was a promise that God made. God said that the seed of the woman is going to crush the head of Satan. And so when they saw Jesus, they were afraid. And he says, "Jesus of Nazareth, we know who you are. You are the Holy One of God." In other words, Satan fears Jesus. Satan is afraid of Jesus. And Satan will always want to destroy the people of God. It sneaks in. Satan sneaks in. It sneaks into our families. He sneaks into our relationships. It creeps into our church. It can creep into the church, just like it happened here. It creeps in. You know, when the Bible calls Satan the serpent, it's not that it is a snake, but what it does is that it behaves like a snake. It finds a way to creep in, and it hides in a corner. You know, there's one saint, Saint Maximilian Kolbe. Saint Maximilian Kolbe is very big on explaining Lucifer and Satan. Maximilian Kolbe said that Lucifer and all the angels, the reason why they rebelled in heaven, you know, if you read the book of Revelation, he said there was a revolution in heaven. There was a battle in heaven. The angels rebelled. So St. Maximilian Kolbe said the reason why the angels rebelled was when God announced that he was going to send Jesus to come to the world. Lucifer and the other angels didn't like that for two reasons. The first reason, they even got more angry when God said he has chosen the Blessed Virgin Mary to be the channel of the Son of God coming into the world. And Saint Maximilian Kolbe said, Lucifer and the fallen angels became jealous of human beings, that Jesus was coming as a person, because the angels believed that they were next, they were greater than human beings. And so they rebelled. And so they came down here. They rebelled. And so we can see how the spirit, evil spirit, can say, we know who you are, because they knew Jesus. They knew him. And they called him the Holy One of God. And they used plural. It says, have you come to destroy us? We ran away from heaven, we came down here, and you came down here to destroy us. And Jesus simply said to the man, he was addressing the Satan, not the man. He says, be silent and come out of him. And the evil spirit came out. But he says, it convulsed the man. And he was crying with a loud voice, but it came out. So there is power. There's power in Jesus. That's why the people says, what is this? He has authority and power over evil spirit. You know, St. Maximilian Kolbe, again, I would like to go back to St. Maximilian Kolbe. He says, Holy Communion, the Holy Eucharist, is where the power is, because it's the real presence of Jesus. So he says, Satan cannot stand the Holy Communion because he cannot receive it. And he says, so when we human beings receive Holy Communion, it pushes Satan out of our lives because Satan cannot stand it. That's why Jesus says to the spirit, that evil spirit, he says, be silent and come out of him. And the unclean spirit is the unclean spirit, convulsing the man, came out. Because where Jesus is, the unclean spirit cannot stay there. So, my dear people, let's understand that it is not superstitious when we're talking about the devil, when we're talking about Satan. It is real. It can attack, it can creep in, but with Jesus, it stands no chance.